So what we do is we will first understand before we jump into performance tuning certain basic things like what is the naming standard and how we go about creating the measures, everything. Okay. For example, here in this case, I already created the measure like total sales. Yes, this is the measure, simple measure. And I'm going to create another measure. For example, here I'm going to create another measure. It is always a good practice, use your measures, okay? Instead of using the implicit measure. Okay, the next one is like I'm going to use, how do you find out the total QTD? Quarter to date, month to date. Can someone type it in the chat window quickly? Let me see how many of you are able to or practicing a total MTD. What is the function that we use it? Total MTD. Nobody remembers. Very simple formula. Ideally, I should have used that convention. Total year to date. Okay, done. So we have created the measures. Now, whatever the measures that I created, everything is available under the dim date. Okay. It is not, see now, these measures are not, part of your dim date, right? So this is common to your visuals. Let's say you create some visuals and you want to, I just create this one. I just put the year from here. For example, if I put here the year in this matrix, and then what I do is I just put the month also, and here the month, and then the values I'm going to say sales W04 already created the relationship, and here I just put here. Okay, instead of that, I'm going to use the total sales here. Okay, I just put this one here. Okay, my total sales, and if I go and expand this one, it is showing correctly now. Fine. This is my what? This is my total sales. Okay, and along with this, if I put total MTD, so month to date, it shows every month beginning, it is getting reset, right? Every new month beginning, it is getting reset. In this case, yeah, I started with 2011 and 2012, it is fine. Now, what we do is in the real time scenario, we create a separate table. Okay. No, 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 not like that. Okay. And here I'm going to create a table now. Enter data. Measure table. I'm going to call this a measure table. Here what I do is I just give some, okay, column one. Okay, I just initially start with the, blank thing here. There itself, we could have given the table name. Look here, this is the one I created it now. And here Okay, for the sake of you to understand where we can, so can we give the table name, the static table name here itself? And I'm going to click on the enter data, and here, look here at this bottom here, you can specify the table name. Okay, here what I do, I just say measure table. Sales analytics, measures. I just gave the name and then I pressed enter. Okay, this is my sales analytics measure. Okay, and here I don't need this column one because in the column one we did not specify anything. If you have to create a table, obviously at least you need to have one column in it. If you don't have any column, you will not be able to create the table. Okay, now for the sake of creating the table, right? I just created this one. What I do is I just go here and I'm going to. Okay, and instead of that, what I will do is I will just go here and I'm going to select hide this column. So this table, why I created this static table? Why did I create it? Because I want to keep all the measures in a single place instead of keeping this measures scattered across all the tables and other places. I want to organize everything in a systematic way. Okay, I want to keep everything in a common place. What is my table name? Sales. Oh, okay, okay. I have hidden the table itself. Okay, sales measures, sales analytics. Okay, I just go here. See here, I have hidden the entire table. I'm going to unhide. This is how we can unhide it. So, okay, what I do is instead of this, I just, I'm not going to do anything now. I will tell you what I'm going to do little later. Okay. Now the sales analytics measure. This is how we can hide and unhide. Okay. Supposing you have hidden here the table, right? So it will not be visible. If you want to unhide it, go to the model and unhide it. Okay. Now what I do is I just go and select the measures. For example, the total MTD, if I click on it, so you can see that the measure here, right? Total MTD. Currently it is mapped with the dim date table. That doesn't mean the total MTD is one of the columns that is available under dim date. This is not a column. This is a measure. Okay. What I do is I click on the down arrow and the sales analytics measure. This is the table which I created to hold all the entire project measures in that folder. Okay. Or in that table. Okay. So similarly, you would just go and select total units sold. Okay. Here I just move this to so that all my measures will be available in a single table called sales analytics measure, so that there should not be any confusion. The total QTD should not be misinterpreted as a column that is available as part of dim date. Okay. Okay, we don't see any other thing. It's good. And the total sales, I think so. We are ready to move it. Yeah, this is the one. Total sales. Here, sales aggregation. Yeah, sales analytics measured. Yeah, total sales year to date is there. And let me just check. And yeah, this one. Look here. In this case, the total sales measure we created under this location table, and it should not be misinterpreted, or it should be it should not be misunderstood that this is one of the columns that belongs to this table. No, no, it is not a column. It is a measure. What I do is I go and select the common table which we created to hold all the measures. Okay, we are done with this. Now I just go ahead and what I will do is I will just select this column here and I'm going to delete from model. That column alone, yes, I want to delete the column alone. And then what I do is, because of dummy column, okay, to create a table, obviously you need to have at least one column. So what I do that, look here, when you collapse it and expand it, and if you see this one, right, if you expand this one, you can see that the table which we created, sales analytics measure, next to that, you can see that the measure icon instead of the table. So this is a table icon, this is your measure icon. So now good that we kept all the measures that that are related to this project, right? So we kept in a common place, so that whenever you want to refer the columns and any tables, you can go and check it in the appropriate tables. If you want to see any specific columns, you can go and check it in the specific table. If you want to see the measures that you created for this project, you can go to a single place where you can see all the measures here. The next one is I just go to the model view, and this is what my sales analytics measure. Now we can see that here all these things are available here. And now what I do is I just select it, and then here and I'm going to select the month to date somewhere here, and then display folder. Enter the display folder. Here I just say time intelligence. Look here, within this measure, common place to hold all the measures, we created this table. Okay, and now what I do is I just move this under this folder, all the time intelligence related. Or you can simply select the total QTD. And here the sales analytics, no, you need to drag and drop it. You need to select this one and drop it on the name of this folder. We have a dedicated table to hold all the measures, but within that dedicated table, we wanted to logically separate. We can create multiple folders so that these measures are related to time intelligence, and these measures are related to my KPI. So what I do is I just go and select the total sales, and then the properties window in your model view, I just go here and then I just say this is my KPIs. Something like that. So don't ask me, is that are all not KPI, right? So here, this is, the single number, total units. I just move this under this one. Okay, fine. So you just assume that this way, okay, all the KPIs you kept it somewhere here, and then all the time intelligence, the measures, right? Logically you are grouping the measures under different things, so that later point in time, if you want to refer the measures that you create, you will come to this table, and then within this table, I have a lot of measures are there. If you scroll down in the real world scenario, you will have a lot of measures here. But you want to just check the time intelligence measure out of this table. Just go to the folder, and then it will make your life simple. Oh, this is what my this one, the time intelligence measures. I can see it here. Okay, and the same period last year, right? So all the things you can use it here. Fine, now you understood. This is the best practice. Better you create a separate dedicated table wherein you can keep all the measures. And within that dedicated measure table, you can create the folders so that you can logically group the measures that belongs to different folders or different groups. So in this case, this group is meant for time intelligence. This is the one will hold all the common KPIs. Okay, fine. And for example, you have something called finance KPI, right? So finance and sales marketing, something like that. Okay. The next one is calculated groups. You have something called calculated groups. The interview, they will ask you about calculated group. So don't get confused the calculated group with your calculated column. These two are different. You know already what is a calculated column. What is a calculated group? So in this case, what we do is instead of creating the measures and hard coding the value like total sales here and all the things, right? What we will do is we will make it something dynamic. So that is possible with an external tool called tabular editor. You can go to the Google and download the tabular editor. So you can use it for 1 month or so. Okay. And it will not, it's a kind of a trial version is available. You cannot use it beyond certain period. I don't remember it exact, the duration trial period. So in my case, I have the licensed one. What I do is, in this case, what you need to do is you just go to the external tools, and then what you do is, you need to install it here. Okay. Home, and then what you do, yeah, once you install the tabular editor, it will be available here. Okay, automatically it will come and included here. And the next step is here we are going to explore the calculation group. I'm going to click on the tabular editor. This is what your tabular editor. Okay, here what I do is I just go and take a look at it. For example, when you open the tabular editor, it will be like this. Okay. And if you expand this one, you can see all the relationship, whatever you created. So here, when you open this, it will ask you, it will open, it will get open like this. And here, what you can do is you can see all the tables and the measures, whatever you are using it as part of the Power BI desktop, it will be available here. So now we are talking about the performance tuning part of this file. Look here for the corresponding report file, whatever the objects that are available here, the same thing we can see it here. Good. So what is so big deal now? What am I going to do? We are going to create the calculation group with, okay. So once I create it, I'll show you, how you can create different calculated items. So you need to select the tables here. The first step, you need to select the tables here. And then let me do one thing. I will just make it resize it a little bit big, smaller. And I just keep this like this. Okay. And here I just right click on it, create, and then calculation group. Or you can press Alt 7. It'll create something. You can resize it. So you can probably increase the size of this one so that it'll be you can get a good visibility here. So what I do is I just specify time intelligence, time intelligence. I'm going to make it more dynamic here. Once you expand this, you can see the calculation items here under the time intelligence. Right click on it and then you create calculation item. Okay, or you just simply, okay, right click on it, calculation item. Now you can see the some kind of model kind of icon here. Okay, here what I do is I just give this something like MTD, month to date. And then again, I'm going to select the calculation items, create one more calculation item. I just say this is my QTD. And the next one is I'm going to create, I just expand this, right click on it, create calculation item. Here what I do is I just say YTD. What I do is I just want to move this up so that month to date, Q to date, YTD, all these three columns will be in the proper order. Okay. So the next step is I just go and write some. 1 second, sorry. Here I'm going to write on the left top here. This is where the expression editor. I'm going to say total YTD. Sorry, MTD. So in this case, total MTD. This is the function, DAX function. And then the first argument is your total sales. Look here, total sales. I'm going to use the total sales and comma the dim date. Okay, that's it. And then the next one is I'm going to click, I'm going to select everything. In the interest of time, I just go here and I selected the QTD. And what I do is here, okay, instead of using this one, right, what I do is I'm going to use a function called selected measure. And even here, instead of using the measure name as it is, here I'm going to say the selected measure. And similarly, the same thing I'm going to do. But here it is Q to D. Sorry, here I should specify the correct thing here, Q to D. And then the next one is the YTD. You don't have to specify the measure everywhere. Okay, what measure you are going to, just simply specify the function name, the total MTD and QTD, YTD, the function. Just give me a second. Somebody is calling me. I'm surprised, why he's not able to log in. He's sending a message saying not able to log in. Okay. All right, so now I have created a calculated group. How did I do that? I just opened the tabular editor. In this, you will find something called tables. And then I just right clicked on the table and here something will create and calculation group. Click on this one. And then that is how I got, this one, new calculation group. I just renamed it as time intelligence. And then I clicked on it, right clicked on it and create calculation item, not the measure, calculation item. I just clicked on it. And then in the calculation item, again, I just created the calculation item. So it was, here it was displaying some calculation item. I just renamed it MTD. And then on the left side, total MTD, QTD, and YTD. So these are the three functions that I used it. The first argument was selected measure. So whatever the measure that you use it there, it will get, copied, picked up automatically here. Okay, and now you just see what is happening. I'll explain you little later. Okay, just see the steps. Basically, what we are trying to do here is instead of instead of hard coding the measure names as part of each and sum of sales, sum of quantity, right? We use something dynamic, the function, the selected measure. This one will dynamically pick up the measure. For example, if I go ahead and close it, now I'm done with this. Once you are done with this, you will find something called refresh now. This is specific to the tabular editor. I'm going to click on this one now. So this one I have used the measures which I moved it as for the dedicated table. Now what I do is instead of relaying, so in this case, right, everything got hard coded, the totals is everything. Now what I do is I just go here and I create another matrix. I just pull the year column here. I'll put year and then I'll put month prefix. Okay, everything is good, but month prefix, I'll put it in values. Sorry, not values, and as part of the rows itself. Okay, and if you expand this, you can see it here. Okay, and here the next step is look here. This is the time intelligence I have created, right? In the tabular editor, I have created a calculation group by the name of time intelligence, right? So I just right click on it. And now what I do is I just push this, I drag and drop this into a column. In the time intelligence, you can see only one thing here, the name, and I'm going to click on it. It will say something like auto deduct or something like that. Okay, what I will do is I just keep this as it is. And what I do is in this case, I just pull the total sales here. Even after that, I'm getting some issue here, right? E selected measure function, too few arguments are passed to the minimum count for this one. So here it is not showing the value here as it is. And here if I, yeah. And if you go and check it here, if you notice one thing here, look here, sales underscore W04. Can you see the sigma notation just before the numeric columns? No, right? If you select quantity, you can see the quantity and the whole number. Though it is a whole number data type, the sigma which used to get displayed along with the number data is not visible here. right? So what tabular editor says, right? Implicit measure is not the right way of using the implicit measure. Use the explicit measure. Like total sales is equivalent to sum of sales, right? Total sales, you need to use it. Don't use the implicit measure. Usually what we do is we just drag and drop the sales column. And what will happen is in the case of any visual, by default, you can find the aggregated value for the sales. Along with this sales, if you have any other categorical column, for example, category column, when you drop this one, what will happen is automatically it gives you the sum of total sales break down by the category, right? But what he suggests, don't use sales. Instead, you can use the measure as it is. But even if I use a measure, it is not working here. Let me just expand this one. Total sales, if I drop it to this one values, it is showing that something like the too few arguments were passed to the minimum argument count for the function is one. At least one should be there. So what I do is I just go to the external tools and I'm going to click on the tabular editor once again. You can see that. And here I just go and select, let me just minimize this one a little bit smaller. And then if I go to the calculated column here and I just expand this one, and then this one also I'm going to expand this, we can see this one. What it has to go and pick up the measure also automatically. Instead of hard coding it, it should pick up automatically. So what I do is I just go and say calculation item, right click on it, and then I just say calculation item here. In this case, one more calculation item is there. I just increase the size here so that here I'm going to say values. I just move this up here. Values, MTD, QTD, everything. Now everything is fine. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, this is the one, yeah, and here, the expression and the values. In this case, the expression is not there. I'm going to click on it here. Okay, or you can use the expression here. Okay, and once again, okay, here I just click on values. And then in this case, what I do is I just make this a little bit smaller. You can drag this. It will be confusing, okay, but here you can minimize it, okay, by selecting that one, right? You can use the here. I just now you can see that very well that you can put it here. Selected measure, okay. And next one is yeah, Y2D, MTD. Everything is good. And what I am going to do is I'm going to save this one and then I'm going to say exit. Take some time and I just go and click on refresh now. In this case, I just go here and then what I do is I just select here and then I'm going to the total sales. I just put it here and then the next thing is like the name. I'll just copy paste it here and it should work here. Measure is one. There is a problem here. Let us, what we will do is I think it is not picking up from there. Selected measure, right? Let me just check the one I did this already here. And in this case, name and total sales and name only I've used it. So name is coming from here and the values are coming from here. Okay, let me just go and check. Are there any problem with TI and the data model? You need to make sure that you have the proper relationship that, there is no excuse there. Okay, dim date and order date, everything is fine. And here, what I do is I just say the value. Everything is correct. Okay, I just go here and then here. Okay, here it is coming out clearly, and I just go here and say and see details here. Okay, let me do one thing. This is the one I already created. Let me see if this one works fine. Yeah, this is the one works fine. And TI, but whereas here the name, I just copied it from this one. And this one is not working. Let us go and check what is the problem. So one way it is good that you can, you can troubleshoot with this one. Okay, here, look here. When you keep the cursor here, you have two windows are there, right? I think somewhere I just close this one and let me just open it one more time and make sure that you are not having, look here, you have something else is there. Okay, it is not getting saved also. And here I just say values. And here I just use the name here. One second. Here the total sales, yeah, T1, MTD, and value is not there. Okay, let me just do one thing. I probably delete this one. Let us see if this one going to help. So here, like you have name and ordinal everything. Total sales is there here, and calculation items, total sales. Let me just see here. The selected measure. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, for this, you need to right click on it. Calculation item, total sales. So this is what our measure, right? So total sales. I just move this up here because first we need to display the sales and then month to date, quarter to date, year to date. I just go ahead and save it here. And then what I do is I'm going to exit this one and refresh now. And here I just remove this one. What I will do is I'll just go and pick up the total sales here and then I'll put it in the values. Sorry. Now it is coming out. We don't see any error here. So what is happening here is I have created the total sales calculated item there. For that, I have used a function for selected measure. So what happens is whatever, the measure we are passing it here, it gets picked up automatically. And then what you do is in the columns, you need to drop this one here. But still it is not working well here. Total sales. Let me just see what is the problem here. Did I save it correctly? Yeah, here it should not be there. Yeah, it is not there. It's correct only. Let me just open it. Give it a last try. Calculations next to that, you can expand it and you can see it here also. The same thing, the total sales. And if you select this one, you can the selected measure. I used it here, and month to date is also total MTD, selected measure. Everything is correct. And unfortunately, we are not lucky here. Selected measure and MTD and dim date of date and okay, is selected measure. That is the problem. Here, I selected the wrong function here. It is not is selected, is a selected measure. Okay, and then the next one is the selected measure. That is the reason why it is causing some problem. Otherwise, it will not be a problem at all. And we fixed it. I just go and make sure that you're not making any typo while doing this one, selecting the function. Better you can type it manually, right? So in that kind of situation. The total sales is coming from sales number, fine. And then the next one is the name here. I just put it here. Look, it is coming out correctly. So the problem is, the problem was, I gave the wrong function name. Okay, instead of selected measure, I gave the selected measure. And here the rows here month prefix. Now how it works, right? So the moment I drop the total sales here, so what happens here is, for example, if I drop the total units here, will it work? See, beautiful, right? If you drop the total, if you drop the quantity, total units, it gives you the total quantity here for month on month, right? It gives you each month what is the total units sold. And the month to date, Q to date, year, I did not do anything, right? I did not create any separate measure for this, for the units sold. Okay, total, so if your manager wants to see total month to date units sold, I did not create any. It became very dynamic because of the calculation group. Okay, and importantly, the selected measure. What happens is this one, the total units get copied here. Whatever the value that you selected here, that one is getting copied here. So this one, right? This one will get copied here. So when this one gets copied here, month to date total units and Q to date, Q to date total units and year to date total units will get copied here, and it displays automatically. Okay, and then the next one is like, okay, let me do one thing. I'll just select it here. And then if you think like, oh, can I include this one? Yes. You can include more than one measure also. Total units 1161 and total sales for April 2011. Look here, it's so beautiful, right? It's very dynamic. Okay, so the whatever the measures that you created, when you drop it here, what will happen is this one will get picked up automatically using the selected measure, and that one will be sent to your month to date, Q to date, year to date. And then second one, I dropped it here. Automatically, this one also get, one after the other measures, right? The first, it processes the first measure and then it goes to second measure. Second measure, what is the month to date sales and Q to date sales and year to date sales. It automatically picks up this one. This is a beautiful one. You don't have to write multiple measures. This is how you can write the number of measures in a very you can write very less number of measures with these kind of functions, or with this option that is available with tabular group. You don't have to write too many measures. It saves a lot of your time, right? It improves your productivity. So, all right, we are done with the calculation group. We started with this one. Supposing there are companies, they cannot afford buying tabular editor. So in that case, what you do is you can create something like this. So you create a separate measure table. In that measure table, you create different folders if required to make it logically separate your measures, right? So KPIs you keep it separately, time it is you can keep it separately. And if your org have a tabular editor, better you can go for the calculation group. That is very much helpful. with the help of this selected measure, now you understood how you can dynamically compute the year to date, quarter date, and the time. So in this case, I've used the time intelligence function for total units for each measure. Total units, in this case, total units and total sales. It gives you the month rate, Q date, Y date automatically, by without even writing different measures. Otherwise, what would have happened? For these three, you would have created three different measures for the sales, and for total units, you would have written three separate measures. So in total, six measures you would have written it, right? So instead of writing six measures, you just create two calculation items. That is enough. And also you cannot see, right? For example, yeah, so it is not visible explicitly, right? So where you have written the total YTD, month to date, everything. So here I did not use this measure at all, right? MTD, QTD. So in this case, what happened? Here I have created three measures explicitly for the month to date, year to date, quarter to date. So if I drop this, it will not have any effect on this. And because I did not use it at all here, I just use the selected measure there. So this is, this is not the recommended one in the real world scenario. If you have tabular editor available with your customer, or you can also recommend them. This is how you can, by using the calculation group, you can reduce writing the number of measures in your model. Okay, fine.